Hey everyone, in case you haven't noticed, here we are on this quite foggy Friday night. Thankfully, the traffic here along downtown at Spaghetti Junction seems to be moving, even if it is slower, at a pretty smooth clip. Appreciate you joining us. And we, of course, always like to give you as wide of a view as possible, thanks to our SkyTrack network of cameras. That fog, can't avoid it. And if you join us a little earlier this evening for Wave News starting around 4 and coming up here through the 7 o'clock hour, the fog very much a story as you ride along the riverfront through our parts of the Ohio River. Just be mindful as you're maybe driving, going where you want to go for a night out, or just, doing whatever you need to do to take care of business on this Friday. Rest assured, by the way, our storm tracking team, meteorologist Ryan Hoke, are going to walk us through this step by step, the increased risk for some, more severe rain, much more to the south of our viewing area. But we're going to break that down much more in depth for you when you join us tonight on Wave News at 11. And if you make sure to check back in with the Wave Weather app. As for joining us tonight, as always, appreciate your time. I'm Jose Sosaya in the Wave Now studio. Just another opportunity to sort of dissect, break down, unpack some of the day's bigger stories, perhaps none as impactful or having as big of a footprint ripple effect, let's call it, because big changes are possibly coming for a handful of JCPS schools. And what do we mean by that in our reporting? Well, we found out some are possible relocations for students to classrooms and campuses they're already familiar with. In some cases, it's consolidating one school, moving that population into another and creating a larger student body, as it were. And even cuts and closures. All of this is on the table for district leaders and the board, as they will admit they're trying to tackle and shave back a nearly $190 million budget shortfall. Now, today, we heard from JCPS Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood proposing these are his recommendations that the board can or can vote, choose to accept if they want to. While, of course, other parts of the district, stakeholders are fearing. Some say they're fearing how the process to balance the budget is going to have longer-term consequences. But as far as the focus on these proposals for the specific schools tonight, Wave News reporter Alina Noakes is sharing a little more, and she managed to meet a family representing some of these concerns and trepidations from a student, her guardian, and other families like her out there in the community.
We do not think this is right. We think that more could be done around the county instead of just shutting down Liberty.
Caitlin Webster Hayes is a 10th grader at Liberty High School with an uncertain future.
Things like our internships, college and career readiness, if Liberty gets taken away from us, that is essentially ripped out of our hands.
Caitlin says the credit recovery school has been life-altering, having experienced intense bullying at her former reside school. That's a past she may have to return to, with Liberty on the chopping block to resolve the district's budget shortfall.
It is a necessity for the long-term future of our district, and most importantly, for our students.
Liberty is one of 2 schools proposed to close, having met criteria making them inefficient, according to the superintendent. Zachary Taylor Elementary is also proposed to close. Waller-Williams Environmental would relocate to a smaller building. King and Maupin Elementary would consolidate, and the Georgia Chaffee Teenage Parent Program would move into Male High School. These changes would save the district just $4 million, only a small chip off the $188 million deficit weighing the district down.
We can't do a $100 million cut. If not, we'd be there. So we have to take sort of an aggregate of these cuts to make it viable.
Viability for the budget's future, but Caitlin's family feels it won't be viable for hers.
It's the success of these children that matters. You have to care about the children, because you know what? These are going to be our leaders one of these days, and you can't just shut them down.
That was Arlene Oaks reporting. Now, the plan still has to go before the board to approve it. The vote is crucial. Dr. Yearwood says again on record he wants to see $132 million of reductions in the 2026 to 27 fiscal year. And again, while these are the proposed changes we know about for now, at the moment, the superintendent says a plan for more cuts in the central office, where a lot of JCPS's central department works, those could be on the way too. Now, for anybody who would like to let district leaders know one way or the other what your thoughts are on this set of closures, relocations, consolidations, JCPS is going to host a series of community forums where families and staff can weigh in. The dates and locations are right here on your screen. For 3 of them you could see happening the first week of December. There are 3 opportunities for you to comment in person. Now, we're told if you can't attend the meetings, you can send in a written comment through a form posted right on the district's website. And we'll go through the list here again. So December 1st, the window is from 5 to 6 for all these days, but the first window for Cameron High School on December 1st, December 2nd, JCPS's Center for Professional Learning, and December 3rd at the Academy at Shawnee. The proposals are expected to be presented to the board on December 9th. And the key date there is because that is when district board members are going to have their final vote on the proposal. Well, tonight, the U.S. Small Business Administration is joining a larger effort. It's really a group effort to help all the businesses that were negatively impacted, some devastated in their own right, by the deadly UPS plane crash. These are representatives with this federal agency, and they're now stationed at the new Community Resource Center on High Rise Drive. Now, many of those businesses have had their buildings either greatly damaged or pretty much destroyed in the crash. Others say they're losing money because they can't get into their buildings to make their products, provide the services that their customers are looking for. Those business owners can now apply for an economic injury disaster loan with the SBA at the Community Resource Center. These loans will offer up to $2 million with low fixed interest rates, so the businesses can meet any financial obligations they still have pending. The SBA today telling us business owners don't need to wait for insurance to settle before they apply for this financial lifeline.
The show must go on. Businesses must remain operational. Business owners would like to keep paying their employees during this time right before the holidays.
Now, SBA representatives will be at the CRC Monday through Saturday, as is the regular timing there from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. As for the application deadline for any of these loans, there is still time should you want to discuss with any other advisors, but the deadline extends into next August, specifically August 17th of 2026. Now, for anyone looking for support in the language, their dominant or the first language, for example, the SBA says it does have staff fluent in Spanish for anyone who would require a resource like that. Again, the agency, for any, they don't want a language barrier to be there and exist when it comes to getting the help that a business owner may or may not need to be fully restored after this awful tragedy in this part of the community. Well, tonight, as we extend our reach and coverage of stories, this extends now into Southern Indiana, and it actually is a troubleshooter's update for you, where the big takeaway is there is going to be no prison time for former Scott County Sheriff Kenneth Eubanks, but he pleaded guilty today to tax evasion. The former sheriff is, though, going to spend the next 900 plus days on probation and repay the unpaid taxes at the center of this very crime. And as Wave News troubleshooter Mark Stevens explains to us again, just as a recap, Eubanks's taxes were that line item that got caught up in the notorious Jamie Knoll investigation.
Former Scott County Sheriff and Clark County employee Kenny Eubanks was part of the very first audit that launched the Jamie Knoll investigation. He received hundreds of thousands of dollars from Clark County's jail fund, but it wasn't that spending that labeled him a felon today.
It came about through the Jamie Knoll investigation that this was uncovered, but this has nothing to do with the Jamie Knoll investigation.
Special Prosecutor Rick Hurdle says Eubanks cooperated with state police as part of the Jamie Knoll investigation, but it was their search through his records that revealed the tax fraud on its own.
And it was your intent to defraud the state of Indiana and or evade the payment of tax or any part thereof imposed by Indiana Code 6 3. Is that all true?
Yes.
Eubanks pleaded guilty to failing to report income he made from selling property and money he paid himself from a relative's bank account, hundreds of thousands of dollars in all, with $13,000 due of unpaid tax.
You will pay $13,273.02 to the Indiana Department of Revenue. And I believe that also, Mr. Wren, will be paid today. Is that right?
That is correct.
Eubanks said only yes, sir, and no, sir in court. He did not make a statement about the crime. But Hurdle says this should be a lesson to other public officials.
We've prosecuted 6 people. 5 of them have been convicted. 2 of them former sheriffs in southern Indiana, Clark and Scott County. So I think that the idea is that the crime probably doesn't pay.
There is still one more case to go. Former Clark County Councilman John Miller has been battling his charge of breaking Indiana's conflict of interest law in the courts. His trial has been delayed to next spring. In Scottsburg, Mark Stevens, Wave News.
Time for another check-in of our very foggy Friday night out here at Spaghetti Junction. Hope you stick with us for more Wave News Extra. In fact, coming up, we're discussing Governor Mike Braun in Indiana saying that enough is enough when it comes to recent threats made against him and Indiana state senators over the sort of pause or inability to convene the state Senate for a special session for redistricting congressional districts. So we're going to touch on that coming up next. More stories in Indiana and a special investigation regarding the issue of pregnancy for inmates in jail. And that's something we're going to share with you coming up tonight with much more Wave News Extra. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of the live stream after this break. Welcome back to tonight's Wave News Extra. The message from Indiana Governor Mike Braun, quote, "Enough is enough," because Braun says he and his family now have been targeted by threats over the past week. Braun now joins at least 7 other Indiana state senators who say they were threatened since it was confirmed and announced there were not going to be enough votes among state senators to support redistricting for congressional districts. Of the group of state senators, one of them said his business received a bomb threat just yesterday. And in another incident, according to police, there was a report of a shooting at another senator's home. But this is all considered what you might hear commonly referred to as swatting, where the point is to send officers to a particular scene, but providing fake information to an emergency that's not actually happening. Indiana State Police say they are investigating the swatting threats seriously, and they're asking if anyone does know anything about who is involved, that they should contact police. Now, perhaps what has drummed up some of that consternation or the sort of, very serious, threatening language, additionally, was the redistricting debate. And Governor Braun says the battle over congressional redistricting for Indiana itself is not over, despite the Senate's decision not to convene to vote on new maps. And you see the map right there. We can pause it and bring a reference back to it. Now, ever since Tuesday's vote, the governor says he has been looking for ways for the Senate to still meet and deal with the issue of redistricting. But officials say they're not sure he can do that per the Constitution. Perhaps as far as reporting on where some of this pressure has come from different flanks, one of them being from President Trump, who started asking Republican majority-controlled state governments to redraw their congressional maps to pick up more GOP seats for the House in the 2026 midterm election. Now, I'll try and skip ahead to see where I could show you the map just for the reference. And we'll pause there really quick, just as a reminder of Indiana's 9 congressional districts. 7 currently have Republican members of Congress representing them. Governor Braun says he now supports any primary challenges to legislators who did not support redrawing the state's congressional districts as soon as they could have convened that special session. We're staying in Indiana with this update of a man accused in the shooting death of a house cleaner, and he made his first court appearance a little earlier today. His name is Kurt Anderson. He was escorted into the Boone County Courthouse, you see there, in shackles, wearing a bulletproof vest. Anderson is charged with voluntary manslaughter in the death of 32-year-old Maria Florinda Rios. Rios was shot after showing up to the wrong address to clean a home. Anderson's bond was set at $25,000. His trial expected not to begin until next year, March 30th of 2026. Now, Anderson will have a GPS monitoring system on, but he will not be put in home detention if he posts bond. Bring you back here into the studio, into the Wave Now studio tonight for a special report. It's a special investigation, and this has connections, as you'll find out, to places in our community here in the Commonwealth, for a Kentucky connection, as it were. And the subject matter has to deal with pregnancy, and in particular, pregnancy for women serving either prison sentences or in jail custody at any given time. Now, experts lay out that pregnancy in jails can be already a life-threatening proposition, not just for the women, but for their unborn children. Well, tonight, a joint investigation by Bloomberg Law and NBC News revealed cases of pregnant inmates alleging, on one hand, medical neglect. Many say their labor or they went into labor unmedicated and alone, delivering on jail cell floors. Some cases ending in the worst end, the more tragic end of circumstances, with miscarriages, stillbirths, and in 2 cases, a mother dying. NBC News correspondent Yasmin Yasmin Vasogian brings us 2 of the handful of stories she's covering in this new NBC News digital documentary called Pregnant in Custody. Heads up before we do play, just a warning, some of the video we're about to play for you may be considered a little upsetting and graphic.
I am watching videos of my daughter, Elisa, dying. She was in custody for 5 days.
Paloma Cerna's 24-year-old daughter died in a San Diego jail cell after being arrested for shoplifting alcohol.
When did you realize that she was pregnant?
During the autopsy report. You know, I watch these every day, and it stirs that anger. This deputy never does anything for Elisa. She doesn't call 911. She doesn't get medical, nothing.
Paloma's accusations were part of a wrongful death lawsuit. Medical experts hired by the family's attorney found that Elisa died just minutes after staff left her cell. The cause of death? Substance abuse withdrawal, further complicated by her pregnancy.
When they called to tell me that she died, I couldn't talk. I didn't want to hear anymore, so I just started running around in the house, saying, she's dead, she's dead.
But Elisa's story is one of many, with experts saying tragedies like this happen nationwide, though it's impossible to know the full extent of the crisis. There is no comprehensive data on pregnancy while incarcerated. At least 22 states do not track pregnancy outcomes in jail, with some telling us since newborns are not considered to be in custody, their deaths don't need to be recorded. So NBC News and Bloomberg Law combed through more than 50 lawsuits, alleging the medical neglect and mistreatment of pregnant women in jail. We found women who were left to deliver their babies alone, often giving birth into toilets or onto jail cell floors, while begging and screaming for help.
This is a horrific scene.
Kelsey Love was 8 months pregnant when arrested on charges of driving under the influence. On her third day in a Kentucky jail, she began screaming for help.
With what?
Kelsey was naked, isolated in a jail cell for observation, having been deemed a suicide risk while detoxing from meth.
Can you take me to the... Well, I need to know what's the matter. I don't know. Something's wrong with it. I need to go.
She says she was left to labor alone, forced to use whatever was available to deliver her baby.
I bit it twice.
You bit the umbilical cord.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, grab some gloves.
Kelsey ripped apart a mattress in her cell to keep herself and her newborn son Zayden warm.
Are you angry?
I was angry. Forgiving them is the easy part, but forgiving myself is always the hardest part.
What do you mean?
I was the reason that we were in jail.
After Zayden's birth, Kentucky passed a bill to protect the rights of incarcerated pregnant women, allowing for adequate nutrition and banning solitary confinement. Franklin County Jail, where Kelsey was held, declined to comment for this story. But changes like this are rare and on a case-by-case basis. In San Diego County, Elisa's family received a financial settlement, which included jail policy reforms like compassion training and better medical care for inmates, but no admission of wrongdoing.
It's been 5.5 years, and these people, to this day, they're out free. There's no one convicted.
Paloma is now raising Elisa's daughter, who was just a toddler when her mom died.
She goes everywhere with me. Elisa named her Serenity. I see her, and it gives me my second chance.
Want to thank our reporter there, and I'm going to double check on the name. Yeah, Yasmin Vasogian. And by the way, there's much more in this particular digital documentary, and it's a small part, but you see the Kentucky connection there. You could watch it online. We encourage you to do so. And we are going to be back with another round of stories just to wrap up a more condensed live stream for you tonight. But rest assured, for any more original reporting, we're going to have that ready for you for Wave News at 11, which does include some high school football breakdowns from the sports crew for Touchdown Friday night. So we'll be ready to bring you back this last spate of stories, talking about Thanksgiving, even preparing for Christmas trees, how the community is giving back to those so that they can have a table of food to share with their own families, and a wonderful day when it comes to new families adopting new children officially and making that new bond as ironclad as it could be. So we're going to share all that with you coming up on the other side of the break here on Wave News Extra. Hi there, everyone. I'm sure you're aware, staring at the time and the date on our calendars, we're now less than a week away from Thanksgiving. Some of you, if you haven't already done so, maybe not looking forward to some of those errands over the weekend, which do include some holiday shopping. It could be even for the meal prep, as it were, but even beyond that, just in general holiday shopping, because of noticing trends of higher than usual price tags for some of those favorite sides and fixings. So with the biggest food themed and centric holiday of the year fast approaching, reporter Dominique Moody went to a grocery store as a reference point to get real-time reaction from shoppers about food prices.
I'm in the grocery store weekly at minimum, like 120, 130.
I would probably say maybe 15, 20%, it seems like.
Search for the sales.
While the dash to collect all the trimmings is on, the sticker shock has stopped some customers in their tracks.
I feel like my grocery prices have doubled. Milk has gone up, eggs, meat alone, and $120. That may be inclusive of maybe like 1 or 2 packs of meat, if that. It's very, very, very expensive.
If you have noticed prices on the up and up, there are a few reasons driving up the cost. One is linked to disease among turkeys.
The reason why we're seeing the sticker shock this year for turkeys is because of avian flu. The flock that we actually have now has actually been produced months before. And so avian flu has been impacting the flocks for many, many months.
According to a report by the Purdue College of Agriculture, wholesale turkeys are up 75% since October 2024. The report also revealed the average retail price per pound for a turkey is 25% higher than last year.
About anywhere from $200-300 a month on just groceries. So Thanksgiving, when you're preparing for more people, family coming in town, no telling how much they spending.
The price bench at the grocery store isn't just leading to some changes in the holiday meal. Travel plans are also impacted.
So much people on the road, gas, tolls. My family's from Connecticut, so it's pretty expensive to go back and forth. It's just easier to have everything here. So versus worrying about getting everybody going, packing. Now, even with Southwest, bags ain't even free no more. You got to pay for the bags now.
Despite the rising cost ahead of Thanksgiving, some are thinking about the little things to be thankful for.
Thanksgiving is, time for giving thanks for all of the blessings that we've encountered through the year.
My cancer's a remission, and I'm still here with family.
Now, as advice from consumer experts recently say, there are some ways you can try to save the few dollars you can. Some of that incorporates, thinking and planning ahead as far as you can, meaning to shop early, compare deals from different grocery stores, and that frozen turkeys are produced earlier, typically priced lower. Just make sure that they are properly cooked. And right now, what you're noticing, this is the beauty of live streaming, where just trying to stifle a little bit of a sneeze there. Okay. Bringing things back here to Wave Country, the Jefferson County Circuit Court clerks have been working hard for quite some time over the past couple of weeks to make sure families had full bellies for this part of the holiday season. Over the past month, they've been hosting a food drive. All that food filled 41 boxes for families. In addition to the food, the deputy clerks say they were able to raise more than $500, and all of this is benefiting Dare to Care. Circuit Court Clerk David Nicholson says his deputy clerks really did step up to the plate when asked.
And each week was a themed week. One week it was canned goods, one week it was cereal, and that's just the nature of our deputies. It's the nature of citizens in Louisville. They always step up, and they certainly did step up, as you could see.
Well, certainly one perspective and one example of the holiday cheer you're about to see much more of, and the giving spirit. And now here is a place where you can find your potential next Christmas tree and a variety of other holiday decorations. This is open today. Just head over to Christmas Tree Lane at Waterfront Park to find the potential perfect tree for you if you're still shopping for that. It's going to be up there by the park along Witherspoon Street, directly across from the Great Lawn. Christmas Tree Lane is going to be open every day from 8 to 8 until all of their inventory that they have on site is gone. And we'll leave you with one last story for tonight's live stream. November, in case you were not aware or already knew, is actually National Adoption Month. Specifically, tomorrow, Saturday, is National Adoption Day. It is a time for those in the process, parents, children, their advocates, for all of them to celebrate being adopted, raising awareness about other kids in foster care, still hoping and waiting for this official moment, this life-changing moment to become real. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke explains why just this morning was pretty special for 7 families in Floyd County.
I've wanted nothing more than to be a mom, and now I can finally do that.
Emmeline Greason was born December 30th of last year.
I met a stranger. She loves any and everybody. She loves dogs, loves being outside. If she's having a rough morning, we'll just go play outside. It changes her mood completely.
Her mother, Haley Greason, has been in Emmeline's life since day one, but the adoption didn't become legal until now.
It's so relieving and like a breath of fresh air. We don't have to worry about anything now. She's just ours.
Haley says the adoption process wasn't easy, but Emmeline's smile makes it all worth it. Claire Lorch Hagdorn represented a few clients finalizing their adoptions Friday, but she also encourages people to get involved in the foster care system. According to the Indiana Department of Child Services, in the current fiscal year, close to 1,700 kids have been adopted, and more than 10,000 kids are in foster care waiting for families. Lorch Hagdorn understands the impact of these numbers because she's been a foster parent.
A lot of times we're making reality, making legal what these people have already known. So many kids that just need that safety and security for a period of time, and even in my case, when it didn't end in adoption, it was 100% worth it for me because I was able to give him that stability and that love and that place that he needed in that point in his life.
In Emmeline's life, Friday will be a moment she may not understand right now, but for her parents, it's a moment they've been waiting for. In Floyd County,
Yes, you are the star.
Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Congratulations to all the now official, but definitely growing and loving families right there. And you see a bit of our banner work as we'll try to bring you back into the main page, but you see all the partners involved with our Angel Tree campaign. So it'll be interesting there. See if I can reload the page, as it were. Okay. Here we have our main page, wave3.com, notwithstanding our Angel Tree campaign, which, by the way, make sure to join us for that. But a reminder that on the homepage, all of our top stories are updated in real time. We're talking, breaking news on political stories, national stories, of course, our Wave Troubleshooters investigation, our sports updates, original reporting, like I said, all updated right here for you on the wave3.com homepage and pushed out to you whenever the story does matter to your phone through the Wave News app and on the Wave Weather app on a day like tonight, a night like tonight, discussing a lot of fog and just so you're aware and know how to navigate safely as we do wind down on this Friday. And actually, that's the very last shot we're going to let you sit on as we do wrap things up for tonight on the live stream. Quick reminder, you can always connect with us on the Wave Now app. Many of you are doing so through your Apple, Fire, Roku sticks on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. Always great to see you all connecting with us, spending that time as we offer a different platform and avenue to have this kind of conversation between us, but just another way for you to sit down and go through the day's big stories with us as well. We do appreciate that. All right. I'm Jose Sosaya. We're going to have much more for you tonight on Wave News at 11, but here is one last look at a very foggy Spaghetti Junction. Hope everyone is enjoying some drier, nicer, chiller moments indoors as we're about to start our weekend. Do appreciate your time. Stay safe. We'll be back next week, and we will have Touchdown Friday night for you tonight on Wave News at 11. Take care.